Okay, so we just did our energy exchange and we found out that the energy we would all benefit from releasing today was the energy of excess. And the new energy we could call in its place was tact. How fascinating. I was not prepared for this in any kind of a way. So we're going to do some exploring together. I have no idea what this excess is about. Like, what kind of excess? An excess of what? What is the root story of this particular excess? And why do we need to release ourselves from this energy of excess? And then we can also look at anything that might be blocking us to our tact. Maybe it's the excess itself, and just by releasing the excess, we find our tact. I don't know, but that's what we're here to discover together. So this is spiritual response technique. It's a super crazy, rad healing modality that was developed back in the 80s by one gentleman named Robert Detzler. And then over the years, sort of the charts have developed. Things have sort of morphed. You know, we've taken a little bit of this, taken a little bit of that. And basically, we've landed on this series of about 40 charts. And each chart carries different information. Some charts talk about discordant or icky energy, and that's the work you see me do on those energy exchange videos. And then other charts talk about certain programs. Other charts talk about archetypes. Other programs talk about soul connections and soul dynamics you might have with somebody. Other charts are super woo and spiritual, like God consciousness, and, you know, talks a lot about the soul's evolution through the different levels and layers of consciousness. And so we just explore this information, and then I do a little bit of interpretation. I do a little bit of channeling. I take the information that I get in the chart, and I use the training that I have in spiritual response technique to facilitate a story, facilitate an understanding, facilitate a method and a means for us to grab onto the language that would help us understand consciously what might be going on for us all unconsciously or subconsciously. So that's what we're here to do today as it relates to, again, this thing about excess. So the first question I always ask, at least in these clearing videos, and if you booked a session with me one-to-one, this might not be how a spiritual response technique session would go. It may be, but it might go different. It just depends on what your particular issue is and why you might be coming to see me. But for today, as it relates to excess, and oftentimes in my videos, it's like a good starting point. It's like, what's the root? Where did this start? What is this about? What particular kind of excess? So we do this. We take our dowsing pendulum, we take our first chart, which is sort of like, you know, putting the address into the GPS and saying, GPS, show me where to go now. Like, where can I go that will help me get to the place that I want to be? And so we're going back to the original chart, which is this discordant energies chart, the icky energies, an excess of violence. That's what this is saying. So violence is the root. Violence is either the excess energy we have, or the energy of violence has instilled then also the energy of excess. So it's really interesting, right? It's like excess is too much. Excess is more than we need. Excess is overflowing past more than what your cup can hold. And so I'm going to ask, is it an excess of violence, or did violence create too much? So it's the excess of violence. We have too much violence, which is funny because our replacement energy was tact. So we need to get rid of the energy of violence and open ourselves up to tact. And you might be somebody who is specifically relating to this right now for you individually, or I oftentimes also look at these clearings as it would apply to the collective. Obviously, the collective for a very long time has had an excess of violence. I'm oftentimes shocked at the kind of violence that you can see. I re-downloaded the app X for a minute just because I was curious. And I had to delete it within a couple days because I could not believe the level of violence that they were trying to show me. I don't know who they thought I was. I don't know what they thought I wanted to see. I had no connection to it. It was like a brand new user, and they had decided as a brand new user, I wanted to see a whole bunch of violence. And I was like, no, personally, I don't need to see that. I don't need to watch really messed up movies. I don't need to see the horror. We have plenty of horror all around us. I don't need to entertain myself with that. So, yeah, obviously violence in our collective, and potentially, again, this might be violence that you're experiencing in your own life. And so we're going to ask, what can we do to help neutralize this energy of violence? We know we want to call in tact. We know we want to be more tactful. We know we want to be more considerate of other people, right? When we have tact, we are considering other people. When we have tact, we are thinking about, how can I frame this? How can I say this? How can I operate in such a way that is thoughtful, that is, not just like a bull in a china shop, demanding what I want, demanding what I need, not giving a crap, what happens or what the consequences are. Having tact, it's like taking a moment and thinking something through before you do it, being thoughtful, being considerate. So what else, outside of tact, or what do we need to clear of violence? How can we clear the violence to get us to a point of tact is sort of the question that I'm going to ask now. And so we're going to see what the charts want to show us. So what do we need to clear? What do we need to do to get us from, again, this space is this 6E or 5, chart 5. Of violence and into tact. My pendulum just started spinning in the other direction. Usually my pendulum spins counterclockwise, and she just started spinning clockwise, which is really fascinating. I don't fully understand why, but I always notice it. It's like, whoa, that was an interesting change. So is this satanic forces, or is this self-punishment? Self-punishment. Yeah, I mean, this has been coming up in so many clearings. And if you've watched my videos for long and all, you'll know this is something that comes up very, very often for whatever reason we like to punish ourselves. And perhaps we enact violence against others as a way to excuse punishing ourselves. Perhaps we just feel like, if we are in self-punishment, then everybody around us deserves to be punished as well. How many people do you know that are like that? How many people do you know? Hopefully it's just a handful, but I guarantee you know a few people who not only do they need to make their own day miserable, they need to make sure they're making other people's day miserable as well. Because if I'm going to suffer, then you all must suffer too. And little do they realize that they are oftentimes the key to their suffering. They would certainly be the key to their suffering ending, and they're definitely a key to their suffering continuing. And again, I must perpetuate that then onto others. I am stuck in the loop. I am, we are all energetic boomerangs. What we have going on in here is what we project out, is what comes back to us, is what we project out, is what comes back to us. We are toroidal energy. We have this toroidal field. It's like, it's the coming in and the going out, the coming in and the going out constantly. So if you're in the energy of self-punishment, then you are going to be in the energy then of punishing others. And so what is the root we can ask? First of all, just say, Spirit clear. Could you just clear us all? Hey, universe, spirit, source, God, angels, whoever you are. Can you just clear us of the self-punishment now? Please and thank you. Okay, and what else though? What else can we do other than just saying this prayer and asking for the self-punishment to be cleared? What else can we do to help us, relieve us from the self-punishing energy? What is going on here? We have to clear ourselves of hate. We hate ourselves. Again, and here is that boomerang energy. We hate ourselves. We hate other people. We hate ourselves. We hate other people. We hate ourselves. We hate other people. What came first? The hate for other people or the hate for ourselves? I'm not sure. But I do believe it. I do believe it. I do think that it exists. It could very much be unconscious, right? I have a few key humans, key public figures in my mind right now who absolutely express what feels to me like hate for other people. And you would say, well, they don't seem like they hate themselves. Like, they seem very full of themselves. They seem very confident. They love themselves. They only care about themselves. And that may be true on the surface. That might be the external reflection. But it is impossible for me to believe that deep down, they are not a soul that is at great conflict with themselves because they actually hate themselves. And it just comes out as an expression of hate for the other. And so we're releasing all of us now from this hate of self, from hate of the other, from the energy of violence, from the energy of punishment of self and of the other. Yeah, it's a dark and heavy energy right now. Okay, 26. Freedom is free is what this is called. Freedom is free, at least on a spiritual level, Blocks to our creation and grace, blocks to our creation and our grace. Well, I mean, there you go, right? Blocks to grace. If we're blocked to grace, we're definitely not going to be offering up a lot of love to other people. We're not going to be offering forgiveness for other people, obviously. And certainly if we're blocked having grace for ourselves, we are not going to be stepping out of the energy of self-punishment anytime soon. The way to get out of the energy of self-punishment is through grace. And, you know, the church sort of co-opted it, right? And made it God's grace. Made it God's grace, sending Jesus to die on the cross for our sins to forgive us. But it doesn't have to be co-opted. It can be ours. It can be ours to give ourselves. And that is not something that I think a lot of people are very comfortable with. It's not something a lot of people are very familiar with. It's like you can give yourself grace. You can give yourself compassion. And for every time you give yourself grace and compassion, you will be more inspired to give it to others. I was just had a session with somebody, and it's like, you know, how do you accept imperfection in the other when you can't accept imperfection in yourself? So we release ourselves from any vow, contract, curse, or agreement we've ever signed that said we had to be perfect. We release ourselves from any vow, contract, or agreement we've ever signed to self-punishment, self-destruction, self-limitation, self-hate. And we call in now what? What do we call in now in the place of all of those things that I just mentioned? Self-destruction, self-hate, self-limitation, self-blame. We're calling in trust. Anything else? No. We got to trust. We just have to trust. We have to have some trust. Have some trust in ourselves. Have some trust in our ignorance. Isn't that weird? Like, it's not just trust that you know. It's also trusting what you don't know. Trusting that you actually don't know what perfect is. Right? It's like when you decide what perfect is, you're kind of being a know-it-all. You're kind of acting like you know everything. And can we step outside of the know-it-all energy and trust that we don't know it all? Trust that there is a scale of perfect to imperfect that we have no idea how to measure, that it's not even our business to look at it. It is not our business to constantly be in a state of measurement. Oh, that makes me want to drop my shoulders when I say that. It is not our business to constantly be in a state of measurement. Measuring time, measuring everybody else's capacity, measuring our own, measuring the goodness, the rightness of things. I had another session with someone not that long ago that they were so obsessed with doing it right. And my, reflection back to them is, what is right? There's 1,000 different rights, just like there's 1,000 different wrongs. And this is where grace comes in. But it's not grace that is given to us from an external force. It is grace that is given to us from ourselves internally, over and over and over again. That's the other part here. You don't give grace once, you give grace repeatedly. You are grace. That's the thing. Grace is not something you give. Grace is something you are. Grace is a state of being, just like love is a state of being. I am in a state of grace. I am in a state of accepting imperfection, because who am I to measure? Who am I to be the scale? Who am I to decide? And that doesn't mean that there aren't times where you have to operate your discernment, where you have to say, is this right for me? Is this person right for me? Is this job right for me? Is this, getting this new pet right for me? Is this journey right for me? Is this vacation right for me? Is this book right for me? You can use your discernment, but that's not you having to use your, your measurement tool of like right or wrong. It's not like it is then inherently bad if you don't buy that book or be in that relationship. And I think that's where some of us go sideways, is like when we are rejected, then we are saying your measurement of me not being right for you means I am not right at all. And that's a lie. But it's really easy to get stuck on it, especially if we deeply care how we are viewed in relationships. Releasing all of us now from the archetype of the measurer, the archetype of the perfectionist, the archetype of the scale. Drawing in a new archetype, the archetype of the believer. I don't know why that just came forward for me. I just believe in life. I believe in nature. I believe in the rightness of all things at all times, in all places, in all ways, in all capacities. Yeah, releasing ourselves from the archetype of the judge. Allowing ourselves to step out of judgment and away from violence, right? It's like we justify violence by claiming that we know what is right and what is wrong. Look at what is happening in the world right now. We justify the violence over and over and over again because we say, we know the right way of being. We know the right thing. And you're doing the wrong thing. So we have the right, different kind of right, we have the right to be violent against you. And this happens, again, globally, collectively, on the large scale. And we do this in our relationships. Who here has had violence enacted against them because that person over there thought that you were wrong, thought that you were bad, and they were the one that needed to show you that you were bad or wrong. They justified their violence against you, whether that's emotional violence, psychological violence, physical violence. They justified that violence against you because you are wrong, you have done something wrong, and they are right. So rightness as a justification for violence is what we're clearing right now. And again, I'm asking for anyone in the collective, every authority figure, every person who holds power to be released from this archetype now, to be released from this belief that they hold the power to decide between right and wrong, and that they are the one that should get to enact violence, punishment, whatever the case may be, against others. I pray with my whole heart that this makes a difference. I really do. And, it's not often, especially with the big guys, that I can feel like I can say that, yes, I know that it makes a difference. But someday, maybe. I'm going to keep doing it because I'm optimistic. So looping just came up. Looping. We're just looping on the same thing. And we've been looping for thousands and thousands of years on this same story. Aren't we bored? I'm bored. Are you not bored? I'm bored. I'm bored of the story. I'm bored of the looping. I'm bored of the violence. I'm bored of it. I'm bored of it. I think that's why it's like I don't get off on the violent video games. I don't get off on the violent movies and TV shows. I'm bored of it. It's boring. I find it boring. Like, really? I find this boring. Can we not tell a new story? Can we not come up with a new outcome other than society's destroying themselves and others, us hurting and doing bad things against ourselves and others, us enacting violence in our own small communities, in our larger communities, in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our spaces. It's boring. We're done. It's a loop. It's a pattern. It's a cycle. We can get out of it. It does not have to be this way. It does not have to be this way, at least not to this level, to this exclamation, to this it's just so inflamed, you know. It's like the heart of the world, the heart of society, the heart of humanity is inflamed. And I know that we can have tact. I know that we can have tact with one another. I know we can be considerate of one another. I know that we can, soothe one another. Even people who we differ from, even people who we think are not enough or not cool enough, good enough, worthy enough, whatever enough you want to insert there. Okay. Anything else you want me to look at as it relates to this violence? No. Do you want me to look at tact? Yes. So what do we need to do to open ourselves up fully to our tact? We're going to chart 10B. Thanks for watching, everybody, and being a part of this experience, being a part of this clearing, doing whatever you can do on your side. If you're a believer like me, if you're an optimist like me, claiming on your side whatever you can claim of this healing, of this clearing, exuding out from your own heart center, this energy of tact to everyone around you, everyone you love, everyone in your larger community. Hold in your mind as we're doing this clearing, somebody, someone, I don't care who they are. I don't care what large of a name they carry. There is no authority figure that you don't have the power to send tact to. Send the energy of tact to as many people as you can think of now as we do this together, and use the power of your mind to dissolve the energy of violence. And let's do that together. And so back up with looping, clear rebuilding and mirror images, clear all program replications and reproductions, looping beyond looping. We clear it now. Anything we need to do on a microscopic level, on a quantum level, anything we can do with the power of our words. And we know the power of words is mighty. We've seen it in action, right? They've done scientific studies. They've watched things change and transform when you've spoken good words, kind words to a plant or to an animal, and when you've spoken awful, evil words to a plant or an animal. And if you are a human, you know for yourself the power of words, because you know what has happened to your very soul when someone has said kind words to you, and what that feels like energetically, and how you then use those kind words to motivate you and create something with your day, and then how it's felt and what you've done and what you've created when someone has said awful things to you. So don't tell me that words don't hold power. They absolutely hold power. And that is why part of why humans are different, because we have this kind of language, this kind of these words that are so very powerful. Okay. Anything else we can do here to release ourselves into the energy of tact and fully lean into tact? Is this 4 or 8D? I'm a little slow in the uptake. It's later in the evening for me today. I had a very busy, productive day. It's Sunday here for me, and Sunday is the day that I get all the things done, right? It's the grocery shopping, it's the meal prepping, it's the gardening, it's the cleaning the house, it's the adult day. So I've adulted a lot today, and then I had a lovely SRT session and felt called to do this. And I'm glad I did, but discarnates and entities, that's what's coming up. Discarnates, those that are not incarnated, those that are not embodied, they play a role in this. Things, it doesn't even have to be people. Like if you don't resonate with that, if you're like, oh, well, if somebody's passed on, then they're not here anymore. Okay, then that's fine. But just think about, an entity can be a thought form. An entity can be a viral thought form. It can be the hive mind. It can be a discarnate is just something that is not incarnated. And there is something that is not incarnated. It is not in human form, and it is getting in the way of our tact. It is getting in the way for our care and consideration for each other. And so that is what we're clearing out of the way right now. And again, if you can help me here in this clearing, help me in this clearing. I need all the help I can get. Imagine blowing it out of the way. Imagine dissolving it, disintegrating it, flooding it with light, flooding it with, all of the energy waves that you know how to flood it with. Flood it with, life force, flood it with Reiki, flood it with whatever you are trained in, flood it with your love, flood it with your humor, flood it with laughter, flood it with whatever. We're flooding all of these disembodied entities, whatever they may be, of thought, of energy, of matter, of antimatter, that might be getting in the way of our tact. So what percent are we now open to our tact? 100%. What percent are we blocked to our tact? 0%. Beautiful. We're going to wrap up this clearing then. It was actually really nice to be in front of the camera again today. It's been a week. I haven't recorded any videos in a week, and I was kind of hesitant, and it actually feels good to be here. So we're calling in the energy of caring. We're calling in the energy of love of life, caring and love of life, gratitude. Wow, even more. Success. Caring, gratitude, love of life, success. Those are our replacement energies for today. Ooh, well, if this was helpful for you in any kind of a way, or just interesting, intriguing, if it's instilling some curiosity inside of you and you would like to learn more about spiritual response technique, either for yourself or maybe you have a collective issue that you would like me to work on, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me at www.thepointedstone.com. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on the YouTube. That's really the only places you can find me right now. My website, Instagram, YouTube. Maybe someday I will explore past those places. But for now, that's where I'm at. Let's drop back into this moment one more time. Letting out one more good exhale. Accepting and embracing this healing for ourselves and for the world. As cheesy as it may sound, what's the harm in believing that it could be helpful for us and for others in some way? All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.